Today I'm going to be reading Frightville Don't Let the Doll In. It says for Annabelle in the beginning. But I just don't want to go back to that freaking page. Chapter 1 and 2 I'm going to be reading. Mara, we're going to be late. Mara ignored her father's call. She was painting the window trim in the attic bedroom and was nearly finished. Mara, her father called again a little more loudly. You better go. Her mother said, This can't wait. Mara set her paintbrush down and untied the strings of the apron she had over her school clothes. Let's set you down. Just read. All right, she said as she hung the apron on a hook, but don't do any more work until I get home. Promise. I promise. Her mother said, I have to work on the plans for Hudson's house today anyway. Mara went over to where her mother was seated at her drafting table and gave her a hug. I'm sure the house you're designing for them is nice, she said, but not as nice as my house. Her mother laughed. Of course not, she said. I have all my best ideas for you, Mara. Coming! Mara shouted as she took one of the last. Coming! Mara shouted as she took one last look at the huge dollhouse sitting on the workbench and reluctantly went downstairs. Her father was waiting by the front door, the car keys in his hand. Mara's little brother Jesse was standing beside him, his backpack on and an impatient look on a 7-year-old face. Sorry, Mara said as she grabbed her coat from the closet and snatched up her own backpack. We were working on the house. We're going to be late, Jessie said, and I have a spelling test today, which I'm sure you'll get a perfect score on, Mara said, putting her arm around him. Putting her arm around him as they exited the house. I'll quiz you on the way to school. As she practiced, he got every word right. Mara, however, realized that she'd left her math homework sitting on the desk in her room and her gym clothes in the top dryer where her father had left them for her. It was going to be that kind of day. I'll see you this afternoon, her father called out the car window as Mara and Jessie walked into school. Love you back, Mara and Jessie shouted unison. Once they were inside, unison means together. Once they were inside the doors of Crowleyville Central School, Jessie headed left to the second grade classrooms while Mara turned right and went up the stairs to where her fifth grade rooms were. When she got to homeroom, she found everyone standing around Krish Dahan's desk. Mara hung up her coat and put her things away in her cubby. When we went to see all the excitement was about, what's going on? She asked as she peered over the shoulder of her best friend Olivia Winters. Chris had what looked like several small action figures set out on his desk. I think this one's my favorite, Chris said, picking up one of the figures and holding it out for everyone to see. He's called the Fisherman of the Lost Lagoon. Maria leaned over and picked up one of the other figures. That one is a werewolf bride, Chris told her. Look at the flowers in her crown. They're covered in blood. She's cool, said Maria, and perfect size to live in my dollhouse. Maybe your dollhouse was a castle in Transylvania, Olivia joked. Where'd you get these? Maria and Chris. Maria asked Chris. This awesome new store, said Chris. Frightville. It just opened. It's across the street from the grocery store between Comic Land and the Dirty Dong. I'm gonna restart. This awesome new store, said Krish. Frightville. It just opened. It's across the street from the store between Comic Land and the Dirty Dog Washateria. They sell all kinds of weird stuff. Before Mara could ask any more questions, Miss Taggart came in. All right, everyone, she said cheerfully. I hope you're ready for a pop quiz on algae and fungi. Mara handed her werewolf bread back to Krish and took her seat. Miss Taggart passed out the quizzes, and soon the room was filled with the sound of scribbling pencils. Thankfully, reading Chapter 7 in her science textbook was the one thing Mara had remembered to do, and so she answered the questions quickly, although the section where she had to label the parts of a mushroom, she had to guess on a couple. Wait. The rest of the class was a lecture about spores. Mara tried to listen, but mostly she was thinking about her dollhouse. She and her mother had been working on it for months. They'd started over a summer break, drawing up the plans and then cutting the pieces and nailing the glue and gluing them together. Now it was October. Everything had taken a long time because Mara wanted it to be perfect, and it was almost. The one thing she didn't have for the house was somebody to live in it. She'd been so busy building it, she hadn't even thought about what kind of person might want to live in the house. The house was big, Victorian style, 3-story with tower and attic bedroom, and all kinds of neat things her mother had designed. Mara wished she could have lived in a house like that too. Not that there was anything wrong with her actual house, but it was a little ordinary compared to the dollhouse. An interesting house needed someone interesting to live in it. At lunchtime, Mara sat with Olivia and Krish and some of the other kids from her class. Mara used the opportunity to ask Krish more about where he'd gotten his monster action figures. Do they have, anything a little less creepy? She asked. What? Do you don't want vampires and zombies living in your dollhouse? Max Gershwin joked. I think it's a haunted dollhouse. I think a haunted dollhouse would be awesome. They have all kinds of stuff, Krish assured Mara. You should go check it out. Mara decided she would. When her father met her and Jessie outside the school that afternoon, she asked if they could make a detour on the way home. Sure, her father said. I need to pick up a few things at the grocery store for dinner anyway. I'll drop you and Jessie off at what you'd call it. Frightville, Mara said. Frightville, her father said, chuckling. Sounds like Frightville. Sounds like a convenient store for witches. Pick up some eye of newt for me, okay? I'll add to the goulash I'm making for dinner. Will do, Dad. Mara's eyes looking at Jessie and rolling her eyes. A few minutes later, they pulled into the parking lot of Frightville. Mara and Jessie got out of the car. The grocery store is right across the street. Their father said, pointing to it as if it hadn't been inside a bunch of times. I'll be done in 20 minutes. Don't go anywhere else, okay? Got it, Mara assured him. Can we at least take candy from strangers if you run into any? Only if it's chocolate, her father said, pretending to be serious. None of those licorice drops or gummy pumpkins, though. Mara laughed. Okay, Dad, she said as Jessie pulled her towards the store. See you in a little while. Chapter 2. Mara pushed open the door to the shop. A low, moaning wail filled the air. "Welcome to Frightville," said a creaky voice. "Welcome to Frightville." At first Mara thought the greeting was part of the recording. Then a tall, thin man appeared from out the shadows. He was wearing an old-fashioned black suit and gray shirt with a black tie, and his silver hair was slicked back over his head. With a pale white skin, he looked like a character who had been stepped out of a black and white movie. "Allow me to introduce myself," he said. I'm Odson Ends. Okay, I think I'm done because I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna lay like this. So I'm done with chapter 2. Remind me I'm on page 12 next time. Also, this is the cover. Oh shoot, I haven't zoomed in a lot. This is the cover. Now we're gonna watch TV for like 13 more minutes. No, you're gonna watch Total Drama Around with me on my Cartoon Network.